Last week, the Ravens took the Lions behind the woodshed and took them out of their misery whenever they beat the Lions by a score of 38-6. With David Montgomery injured, Gibbs was able to take 21 touches for 126 yards and score a touchdown. 9 of those 21 touches came in the form of receptions, which means that he had a great fantasy outing. I think that a lot of things went Gibbs' way in this game, and I'm not sure if we're going to continue to see stat lines like this going forward. I think that the Lions will play more competitive games going forward, which is going to cap Gibbs' upside. And then once Montgomery comes back, who also is going to take back a majority of the work. In the upcoming weeks, I'd be looking to sell high on Gibbs and get a different running back in his tier if somebody's interested in that type of deal. What do you guys think? Do y'all think that like Gibbs, like his ceiling is super high now, you can't move him, or do y'all think that this was just kind of an outcome of the situation that he was in this week?
I mean, I agree with this sell high thing. When Montgomery comes back, I think Dan Campbell's made it pretty known that he's their workhorse guy that they want him to be, and he's played well in that role so far. With that being said, while Montgomery's out, I think Gibbs' ceiling is through the roof. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the Lions this year and last year they have some of the highest fantasy points per game coming from the running back position. And I mean, if it isn't going to Gibbs, then who the fuck is it going to? Craig Reynolds? I don't even know who the third string guy is. So it has to go to somebody. The touches and the carries have to go to somebody. Dan Campbell has already said, while they don't, Montgomery was their workhorse guy. They don't have him no more right now. And so they're going to have to be leaning on Gibbs a little bit more than they want to. Campbell's already said that. So he said Gibbs is just going to have to take us with what he
Yeah, I,
can
I
do.
think ideally the best way to play it would be to hold on to Gibbs for probably one more,
Yeah.
maybe 2 more weeks if you get greedy. But
Yeah.
I think if you hold on to him for one more week, now you do run the risk that Gibbs goes out there this next week and puts up, like 10 points. And then it's kind of like,
Yeah.
dang, probably wish I would have traded him last week. But
So
Yeah.
yeah, so as a Gibbs owner, I'm kind of in that situation where it's like, man, do I sell high or do I not? And in my current position, I think I'm just gonna hold. But I could definitely see some teams that are in the middle of the pack or like towards the bottom of their league. I would sell Gibbs this week. I wouldn't wait another week. He just had 28 points. He's about to have another good week. I mean, he's playing Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Uh, but here's the thing: he has a week 9 bye, and no doubt David Montgomery is going to be back after that bye. So it might not be easy to sell Gibbs after this next week with the bye upcoming and news of healthy Montgomery. So I'm going to hold just because I think once Montgomery comes after these good weeks from Gibbs and the bye week, I think he's going to be a running back too, maybe low end for the back half of the year. But if you do want to sell him, I'd try to do it now instead of waiting.
The only thing I'd say is like I don't know who's gonna like I'll start off by saying like I don't think like what Gibbs did was fluky by any means, but like I think everyone knows we're all on the same page that like when Montgomery comes back, he's gonna take over that role again.
well, it
I
wasn't
think
like
that
he was like super. Gibbs wasn't like running the ball all over the field. He caught 9 balls. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Nine
So
for
like,
yeah,
80 or something like that.
there is a
I,
world where Montgomery comes back and he still catches 9 balls, but I don't think the opportunity is gonna be there. So
Yeah.
like,
No,
no, I
but
still think
one thing I will say real quick is and I mean this is you can't predict this, but David Montgomery has been hurt on 2 separate injuries through 7 games. No, through 6 games. David Montgomery's been hurt twice, and he's getting the ball a mega fuck ton, and he's already getting banged up. So I'm just saying, you still have a lot of season left, and who knows what could happen down the stretch. I don't wish anything upon David Montgomery, but if Montgomery were to go out for like the playoffs, that would be awesome for Gibbs owners.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Sap, you go.
Uh, well, what I was gonna say was just that like I agree if you could sell high, but like who are you gonna like? You're not if you need a running back, and like there's a lot of people that are hurt right now. There's a lot of running back injuries. There's a lot of injuries just in general. So like if you're in a position where it was like a running back went down, this is finally your bright spot to have Gibbs in your lineup, right? Like, and you still need a running back. Well, who are you gonna trade Gibbs for to get another running back? Because there's not that many running backs that are even that good out there. you would almost be better off trying to see if you can get some. Like there's a lot of teams that have a lot of wide receivers and don't have running backs, but like you almost might want to target like a wide receiver because I don't know what quality of running back you can even get because kind of everybody knows the game. Like it's it's not like some big shocker or surprise that David Montgomery's going to be coming back. The only thing I will say is if you do decide to hold, I mean, Gibbs had a great game. He did have a good game. I think some of his production came later on in the game, but nonetheless, the production was there. So I think that the Lions could look at this and say, okay, David Montgomery's already gotten hurt once, and not to say that Gibbs' role was nonchalant before, but Gibbs could see his rushing attempts and maybe even his targets go up from what it was whenever Montgomery's back, just to kind of get it closer. I'm not saying it's going to go to 50-50. I don't know that, but like you could see Gibbs going up there to be more of a flex play, even with Montgomery back. I mean, it's still a risk, but
So
I
I
could see
have
that
a
happening.
name here. I know which way I'm going on this. But would you go James Cook or Gibbs? The rest of the year.
I would
Cook.
probably,
Cook.
yeah,
It's
I
Cook,
would probably,
no doubt. And I
I
think
would
that
Yeah.
I think you get that deal done today. Is my point.
and that was the only. Whenever I asked the question, James Cook was the guy who actually came to my mind. It was like, could you get this done? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know
I think Aaron
how.
Jones would be another. Like I think there are guys in that same tier
Yeah.
who aren't healthy right now or aren't up to full strength that could help a team who wants to sell high. Like I do think that there are some running backs in that
And
tier.
and yeah, I think those are like the type of
If your
opportunities you have
if
to
your
go
team
for.
is playing well, I mean, even try and send an offer. I mean, I have him and I believe in him season long. But if you have Cook and you have a winning record, and you can afford to be without not Cook, I mean Gibbs. If you can afford to be without his production for a couple weeks, try and trade for Kyron Williams when he comes back. He's going to be a running back one, in my opinion. I don't see anybody coming in there that they've brought in to take over his workload, or maybe even someone like Josh Jacobs, who's had a shit week.
Derrick Henry is another guy who I
Yeah.
feel like at that the way it's been going, like I could see. I'm not saying I would take Gibbs over Derrick Henry, but somebody out there might.
I feel like with the
I don't.
production he's having right now, Gibbs, and that he's going to have while Montgomery's out, I feel like it's the absolute wrong move to do for me would be to hold and not capitalize off of this. If you can trade for anything that increases wide receiver, tight end, running back, just because I think when Montgomery comes back, it's his backfield. He's going to get all the work. While Gibbs usage could increase because Montgomery has been hurt twice, and they want to kind of save him for the end of the year. I mean, Gibbs is also their future for years and years to come, so they're not going to want to really. That's kind of the reason why they started him off slow, anyways. So I think the wrong move, absolute wrong move to do would be to hold Gibbs past whenever Montgomery comes back. I think you have to try and capitalize on moving him now.
Yeah,